Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. We are here today with part 2 of our Cabral HouseCalls. Hopefully, you were able to tune in yesterday. We went over so many great questions. We were going over the daily planner that I recommend. We went over, also a goal-setting journal. We talked about does smoking and vaping and even smoking marijuana potentially affect viral-based issues. What else did we talk about? We talked about issues with falling asleep and then waking up during the middle of the night. We talked about what happens when you have a specific type of surgery that removes the large intestine. There are more and more people having this specific surgery. Of course, we'd love to help those people before the surgery, but if we didn't help them with that, well, what could we do afterwards? Then we talked about just a quick question. Just talked about our equilibrium nutrition being manufactured always here in the good old US of A. And then we talked about tinnitus. And the last thing we talked about is a skin rash called granuloma annulare. So that's that. Now, let's dive into today's show's questions. Again, you can head over for yesterday to stephencabral.com/1555. Today's questions, if you want to read along, are at stephencabral.com/1556. And they are coming in starting on March 17th. So like I said, we're typically about 6 weeks or so behind, and sometimes 7, sometimes 8. It just depends on how many questions are coming into the Ask Cabral. Again, happy to help and answer these to the best of my ability. And let's get started. Let's dive right in. Okay, first question today is from Bettina. She says, "Hi, Stephen Cabral. Thank you for your great podcast. They are great. I'm looking into EMF and came across Shungite stones." And then she gives I won't actually put in the URL just because we don't know who they are. But what are your thoughts? Do they work? Okay, so Shungite I am very familiar with, just not that particular website. So the reason why I'm familiar with this is that I've just been doing a lot more research on 5G. Now, I have done some shows already in EMFs, and you know that if you just go to stephencabral.com/podcasts, and let's just say I type in EMF in the search box, you're going to find all my shows already on EMF. So if you want to search, pretty simple, stephencabral.com/EMFs, and you'll find my EMF meters that I recommend, all that good stuff. But yeah, there's about 15 shows or so that it's been on. Lots of stuff, lots of shows. Okay, so let's see. Smart devices, we talk about protecting yourself from EMFs. Episode 1343, how to EMF proof your bedroom. So we've got a lot. And then what I want to share with you now is I'm doing more and more research on 5G specifically. And of course, I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think that it's a good thing. It's not a good thing, okay? For sure, it's not a good thing. But however, I just want to share with you, I don't think it's the reason for COVID-19. I keep saying that because I want to spread the truth and I want to be unbiased. Do I think it's weakening people's immune systems? Yeah, potentially, but I don't think that's the cause of the virus. And the virus is a virus. It's not specifically 5G. So I just want to share that because we see people with COVID-19 in countries without 5G. So I just want to put that out there. Again, 5G, not a good thing. I talk about it. But Shungite stones are specific because I believe it's because they are able to change the wave pattern of the EMFs and allow it not to be absorbed by your body. Basically, the same thing that happens with the Somomedic that I've spoken about before. Okay, so I'll say this. I won't go into depth on it right now, but I do believe in it. I do agree with it. And what people are saying is essentially it's blocking your body from absorbing a lot of the EMFs, and it's helping to eliminate a lot of the negative energy from it. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to dig into more of the research. Can I find anything on the effects of the Shungite? I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly. I apologize if I'm not. It's just Shungite. And how it helps to block a lot of these EMFs from your body from absorbing it. So some people wear a bracelet. Some people wear a pendant. Some of the stones in their home or around them or near their bed. So I just want to share that with you. I want to let you know I will be back with more specific research on it, but I see no harm in using it, and I see only potential benefit, so I'm all for it. Okay, Lillian's up next. Hey, Dr. C, submitted this question on the group support page, but I'm interested to hear what you have to say as well. What are your thoughts on frenectomies? My dentist said I have a tongue tie and could benefit from the procedure. He said it's potentially the cause of some of my mystery headaches and tongue tension. Thoughts? I'd love to hear your input on this and in general. Thanks, Lillian. Okay, well, I'm happy to share my input on this since both of my daughters had them. We didn't know about it when my first daughter was born, 8 years ago. So what we knew for my second daughter is to be able to remove that. So for those people that don't know exactly what it is a connection from the top lip right through usually the middle of the two front teeth. So there's two. So there's also one that connects for the bottom of the tongue that makes it much more connected. So for my youngest daughter, we had that basically there was a specialist about 40 minutes away from us that this is what he specializes in. So a little procedure, all they do is essentially cauterize it and they remove that. We waited until she was just a little older. But here's the issue. Here's why I'm bringing it up. It can affect breastfeeding and nursing and actually latching on. So if your child or someone you know has difficulty with latching and you've been to lactation coaches, you've done like everything you can, check to see if the top lip is connected lower into the middle basically of the teeth. And obviously for a baby, there's not going to be any teeth, but look to see if there's that thick connection. I had it myself as a child. I had it until about I can remember, it's like somewhere around 10 years old, 11 years old. Then I was playing tackle football with some buddies at the park and it broke and it just bled. Now it wasn't a big deal, but you can actually see the skin because I was 10 or 11 years old, so I was grown and you can actually see the skin still there. As a child, that'll basically be gone. So am I for it or against it or removing it? It's not major surgery. I mean, it's not surgery really at all. You're just basically disconnecting that skin. So I don't have an issue if you wanted to do that. Like I really don't. I don't see a big deal with it. I don't think it's going to require any stitches on your end. It shouldn't. Again, it's like one of those things. I don't see a lot of downside to it. Is it part of your mystery headaches? It's possible. I mean, it's always possible, but there's a lot of adults walking around and they don't have it. So don't let it, I probably wouldn't stop there unless you, of course, you have the surgery and the headaches go away, then fantastic. That was it. But again, for a lot of things where there's not a lot of downside, I have no problem doing it. We're not talking about having to take antibiotics. We're not talking about major surgery. And so there we are. Okay, Rodney's up next. I'm B+ positive and I'm on a 2-week cleanse. I did a 1-week cleanse before and I really like to eat chickpeas, but according to my blood type, the Eat Right for Your Blood Type does not recommend to eat these. Can you explain why this is a problem and recommend a substitute if necessary? Okay, Rodney, I've talked about the blood type diet before, so let's check it out. Let's head on over to stevencabral.com/podcast and let's type in blood type diet and let's see what show that would have been on. So we can go back and you can get the full answer because I'm going to give you the shortened answer right now and then you can go back and you can certainly look that up. All right, so blood type diet, let's put that in quotations, which means it will only search for shows directly if I have that in a quotation. And there's still a good amount of shows. So 281, there it is, blood type diet, episode 281. So let's have you. I just lost now my document. Okay, Rodney, head on over to stevencabral.com/281 and you will get my thoughts on the blood type diet. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm not saying that it is the end all be all for sure. If you are not affected by chickpeas, it's typically okay. What's the blood type diet really talking about? Well, it is based on science. It's based on essentially each blood type, A, B, AB, or O, and then there's also now subtypes and positive and negative. Here's the thing though, is that it's all based on proteins, right? So it's specific proteins and some do not agree as well with others. So it's interesting, right? Because a lot of people who are blood type A, they go on more of a plant-based diet, they eliminate certain things and they feel better overall. Well, part of it could be because they have lower stomach acid and blood type A's they believe are lower stomach acid. And so well, then they're not eating as much heavy meat. And there's a lot, at least to think about it, but a lot of things that they got right with the blood type diet. And I know the Didamos and I know the Didamo Center, and I think it's a great place. There's a place in New Hampshire. I think they're fantastic, good people. So what I'm saying is this, though. You might be fine eating chickpeas. You might be totally fine. There might be actually no sensitivity at all. And so I can't recommend that you necessarily don't eat chickpeas if there's no issues with chickpeas. And so, Rodney, hopefully that helps. Simon's up next. Hi, Stephen. Does blending smoothies contain lots of fresh fruit and vegetables? With a NutriBullet, in my case, are a few of hours before I drink them reduce the nutritional value and or increase oxidation. Note, I do keep them refrigerated. I've also heard that cut fruit and vegetables quickly lose their nutritional value. What is your thought on this? All right, well, let's check it out. There's a show that I just did, and I'm going to see if I can find it for you because I would love to do that right there. Episode 1523. What's better for you, fresh, frozen, or cooked foods? So Simon, head on over to stephencabral.com/1523. You're going to get much more information there, 20 minutes, 25 minutes on nutritional value and the differences between fresh food, veggie, and fruit. Frozen, what happens when you freeze them, and then what happens when you cook them. All right, so, and blending would be considered, well, either fresh or frozen, depending on what you are doing. So the nutritional value does not necessarily go down within that hour or so. The vitamins are still in there. The enzymes certainly go away. So the enzymes are gone. So there's that. But what's happening is this. There is much, much more oxidation, meaning like a fresh pressed juice. When you juice that, you break, basically what you're doing is you're putting in, let's say, celery, right? Celery is kind of one of the bigger ones. Okay. So we're pushing celery down, and I love juicing as well, so don't get me wrong. And let's say you're pushing it down that Omega Vert or whatever juicer you like to use, and it's breaking all the cell walls down. Now, as it's breaking the cell walls down, all the nutrients are being released. And it comes out with the water in the fruit or the veggies. Remember, most veggies, most fruit, 80+% water. So you get all that water in the juice. And along with it, the enzymes and the nutritional value. Well, what also happens is once it's released and it touches the air, it begins to oxidize. And it oxidizes. That's why it said, like, drink your juices within 30 minutes. And what happens with that is that you get the living enzymes. But again, there's going to be oxidation, but that's okay. So if you're going to store your smoothie, what you want to do is you want to fill it up to the brim and you want to cap it. So basically it takes out all of the air. What some people will do is they'll put a little wrap on top of the jar, let's say a mason jar, and then they'll cap it and it'll basically be airtight. You can do it however you like whatever works for you. And then if you fill it to the top, there's very little air. You cap it, and then you put it right back in the refrigerator where it's dark, so try to make sure that it's in a dark place, and it will oxidize less. But yes, a smoothie will oxidize, well, once you blend it up. Any food will, right? If you cut a banana, it turns brown. It's oxidizing. That's not abnormal. So having said that, I drink my smoothie over the course of about an hour. And that's just because I like to time release it. All right, Yvonne's up next. I've been told that since I have autoimmune, my immune system is overreactive and shouldn't be taking anything that is considered an immune booster, such as vitamin C and zinc, as that will make it worse. Is this true? How do I know which things boost the immune system and which things can take to calm, balance the immune system so I can take vitamin C? All right, so here's the problem. We have a lot of people on social media that, and I'm trying to say this the nicest way possible, they should just not be giving health-based advice. That's basically the bottom line. They learn a little bit and then they share that, and it's dangerous because it's just not true. Like, I should not be sharing finance advice, tax advice, political advice, religious advice, any other advice except for what I do for 12 hours a day every day, right? And then I've been doing this for a long time. So, that's the thing, because it's just simply not true. In my book, The Rain Barrel Effect, hopefully you've read that, Yvonne, I talk about Th1 versus Th2 dominance, immune dominance. Some things you take, usually herb-based, boost those specific things. Some things boost Th2, some things boost Th1, which is why I say don't get willy-nilly with taking all sorts of different herbs or other things that you just don't know about, right? So work with your practitioner because the practitioner will know. Okay, here's what we want to talk about though. Vitamin C is not going to cause dysfunction or push the immune system one way or another with Th1 or Th2. And we're talking about normal dosages. I'm not talking about 10 grams or more a day. I'm talking about 1 gram, 2 grams, 3 grams or so a day, okay? So, and in terms of zinc, same thing, under 50 milligrams. If you start to overdo it, sure, there can absolutely be a boost in the immune system. Just like if you do more than 4,000, 5,000 IUs of vitamin D a day, depends on, again, body weight, then you'll start to push the immune system to a stronger degree. But again, you can lab test those as well. So I would be less concerned with vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D at a normal dose, and all the essential vitamins and minerals that you need every day, these are essential, than I would with whatever's going on. With an autoimmune condition, remember, if again, Yvonne, go back, check out all my shows on autoimmune, read the rain barrel effect. You'll find that there's an underlying root cause. So I would be concerned on, what does my gut health look like? What do my adrenals, thyroid, hormones, DHEA, et cetera, look like? Do I have any heavy metals? That's what I would be more concerned with. Now, I'm not saying don't be concerned with this, but don't use mega dosages. Don't use herbs that you don't know about. That's what I would do. But again, I'm not giving you medical advice. All medical advice should be gotten through your MD. Now, MDs don't know about nutritional supplements unless they did postdoctoral studies in functional medicine or integrative health, et cetera. So that's that. It's not an easy answer, right? There's not one thing I can give you because remember, you have an autoimmune issue, but is the autoimmune issue Th1 dominant, Th2? Typically, they're Th1 dominant, but that doesn't necessarily say everyone's is, so I can't give you specific advice. I'm sorry. I did my best. Michelle's up next. I just watched Dark Waters, and I want to know if you have any information on using Teflon pans. Are they safe? I wondered your thoughts on water filtration. I know you've mentioned reverse osmosis, but do you recommend that we test our water first? I also heard that reverse osmosis is good for some things, but not all. How come your toxic test does not look for PFOA? And what other cooking products do we need to be concerned about? Okay, so a lot of questions in there. And no doubt, again, I just want to let you know that I have spoken about Teflon pans before. I know I've done a lot of podcasts, so there is that, right? But what I want to talk about is this. And I talk about Teflon pans in the rain barrel effect. Teflon pans, the nonstick pans are terrible for you. I mean, they really are. They're the Mayo Clinic, conventional medicine Mayo Clinic, said it's one of the top 10 cancer-causing things is nonstick pans. Now, if we know they're causing cancer, could someone please tell me why we are allowed to sell them? That blows my mind. Why are corporations allowed to sell products that we know definitively cause cancer? I don't get that. Because then people get cancer. And it's getting to be one of the leading causes, if not the leading cause of death. Now, it's not there yet, but it's getting there. 1 out of 3 people, they say, by 2030. I mean, that's horrible. So we know that Teflon, it's not the only thing, of course. I mean, there's 77 plus man-made chemicals in the environment. But yes, Teflon pans are bad. Okay, now you asked about reverse osmosis. I've gone pretty in-depth about water filters, and you can just go to... Well, let's see here. So nonstick, I talked about on 322, 1535, 1530. So I've talked about a few shows. Okay, let's go over water filters because I've talked about this quite a bit and what the best ones are. It's great. If you could test your water, I think it's great. No matter what, use a water filter. I mean, unless you're testing your water every day, how do you know? So, okay, you had a good test one day. Oh, great. Well, what was going through the pipes? Pharmaceuticals that day? I don't know. Again, read the rain barrel effect. You'll see how many pharmaceuticals are in the water as well. And they're not testing for that. That's for sure. So definitely use a water filter. Okay, let's see where my water filter show is. Let's check that out. I've talked about spring water being the very best. If not, using a water filter. So why you need a water filter and the best water filters, episode 286. Well, there we go, 286. Talk about shower filters on a different show. Yeah, it's all covered right there. All right, our toxicity test does test for all sorts of different things. PFOA, well, it tests for so many different markers, and you will find different toxins on there as well. So you can check that out. Again, we don't own the labs. It's an amazing environmental toxicity test. Whether it does test for that specific one or not, there are so many on there. I mean, I believe there's hundreds that we test for, hundreds. So that specific one may or may not be on there, but again, it's not test for it just because of that. Meaning, don't use the product specifically in the first place. That's my recommendation. Do a detox, do a heavy metal detox, keep doing these things seasonally, and then a heavy metal detox you can do once a year. And that's my recommendation because we really need to be looking out for each other and just teaching your friends and family, don't use nonstick. Don't use nonstick pans. It's so much healthier. I know that it's more convenient. It is, right? Because it's easier to clean and, well, your food doesn't stick, but it's just not worth it. Don't use aluminum foil. You can check out my podcast on aluminum. Use parchment paper or something like that instead. All right. You know what? We're going to keep it at that for today. A lot of rants. We got to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, And there was like a little bit more questions in there. We're going to keep it at that for today. It's a Sunday. I hope that you've had an amazing weekend. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow with our Mindset and Motivation Monday podcast. Can't wait. Hope you have an amazing start to the week. Take care. Are you ready to heal yourself and then go on to heal others? If so, the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute can help you discover proven functional medicine protocols that blend the best of 7 different healing disciplines from around the world. I personally share with you the exact handouts and protocols I use in my private practice that enable people to get well, lose the weight, and live longer, stronger. I want to pass this information on to the next generation of health coaches, and that is exactly why I created IHP. We are the future of the health coaching industry, and the skills and knowledge you will learn will make you an in-demand certified health coach anywhere in the world. Although we have many medical professionals taking the IHP certifications, no experience is necessary, and half our members have no previous health certifications. At the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, our motto is a health coach in every home. Our goal is that you take this knowledge and then share it with family, friends, loved ones, your community, or in a practice where you create a career you love and can be proud of. The global IHP community is filled with some of the most kind and caring people in the world, and we can't wait to welcome you into our world soon. For more information or to set up a discovery call with one of our IHP Health Coach graduates, simply head over to integrativehealthpractitioner.org.